customers that include Costco, Toyota, Lowe's. What are you seeing from your supply chain perspective right now as this economy tries to reopen?
Sure, and Oliver, thanks so much for having me here this afternoon. We believe that the world bottomed in April. This is true for the economy broadly. It's true for our supply chain customers as well. We've seen the most distinct recovery so far in Europe, with our French transportation business bouncing very nicely off the bottom. Spain bouncing off the bottom as well. The UK is starting to recover. The US probably still bouncing along the bottom, but certainly some signs of life starting to emerge in the US as economies and industries open back up.
Right now, it seems that we are looking at a reopening that is limited. It's regional. Is your insight into how quickly things are bouncing back fragmented? Matt, is it totally different depending on where you look?
It's a bit early to say. A lot of it depends on the vertical. And keep in mind that during this downturn, many of our customers and many of our verticals are actually higher. We do a tremendous amount of business in the food and beverage sector, in consumer dry goods. These are sectors that were really rallying from a fundamental perspective in March and April in response to consumer demand. We're a very large player in e-commerce, both in North America and in Europe. So those were businesses that did quite well, even during the depths of the downturn. Some of the areas that slowed down the most because the shutdowns were most pervasive, think about the industrial economy, think about brick and mortar retail. This is where we're starting to see more activity. We're starting to see reopening, and this we think is where the recovery in the business is going to emerge.
How much of the business pre-COVID are you seeing right now, Matt? What percentage? Can you get that specific?
So we indicated on our earnings call in early May that our revenue in April was down in the low to mid 20s approximately. We haven't given an update for May, but I think we indicated on the call that May was tracking better in a number of geographies, most notably Europe, and that we believe that it hit bottom. So our view is that we're going to see recovery off of those levels and continuous recovery as we make our way through the quarter and through the year.
Where are there still risks? Are there areas that you're worried about? Are there potential ripple effects from the crisis or supply chains that have yet to be realized?
So we've got eyes in the back of our heads as relates to risk. Obviously, the risk that one would focus on is the risk of a second wave. We're hopeful, as everyone else is, that that won't be the case. And we're running the business based on the assumption that we're going to continue to see gradual recovery across the board, but prepared, of course, for different scenarios. But post-COVID, there's a number of changes that we're seeing that we think will be really constructive for our customers and really constructive for our businesses. Supply chain is very prominent in our customers' vernacular right now. Everybody wants to know, how can we future-proof and flow-proof our supply chain? And we think we'll see more outsourcing of supply chain and transportation as a result of that. E-commerce has been a huge theme through COVID. It's been a huge theme for many, many years, but there's been a step function higher in e-commerce penetration during the pandemic. We think that those share gains for e-commerce are going to stick. That converges very well with our skill set. We're the top e-fulfillment platform in Europe. We run a business called XPO Direct, which is a shared services distribution platform used in large part by e-commerce players in our contract logistics business. We're a leader in reverse logistics. So the move to e-commerce, again, really plays to one of our strengths. We're going to see increased automation of the warehouse. It's smart financially and economically for our customers. And an automated warehouse is a more socially distanced warehouse, which in this environment is really important. And we're seeing great growth in our digital freight marketplace, XPO Connect. Our shippers want transparency. They want visibility. They want low-touch opportunity to manage their freight. Connect is giving that to them. So these are four areas in our business that were supportive prior to the pandemic, but where we're likely to see real tailwinds emerging from the pandemic.
It seems like things are making their way back to some degree of normal. Is this specific to XPO's execution? I mean, not to throw like the softest ball question ever. Obviously, you're going to say it's good, but do we expect to see this across the board? Or is this going to be the same for your peers on a broad scale, do you think?
So we live in the same world as everyone else, and some of the broad macro trends that pressured the industry and are now helping to drive some moderate recovery in the industry, they impact us the same as they impact anyone else. But we've chosen the businesses that we participate in very carefully. We focused on the fastest growing portions of logistics. We focused on exposure to e-commerce. We focused on sleeves of transportation and logistics where a technology focus can get us incremental share gain and incremental cost out. So I think, yes, we're participating in a broader recovery, but we built the business to thrive in the kind of environment that we think we're entering and with the kind of skills that we're bringing to the party.
All right, so once again, the answer comes back to tech, having exposure to parts of the market that have been more resilient. Shares have turned around expediently, 94% up off the lows. Matt Fassler, Chief Strategy Officer and Head of Investor Relations at XPO Logistics. Thanks a lot for joining us here, Matt. Appreciate it.